Hello, everyone. Welcome to Weekends with Amit. Last week, we had a discussion on hero's journey. And hero here is gender agnostic. So it is everybody's journey. How? And it's an individual thing, it's not something collective. It has to do with what we are and what we want to be. Today, we are going to take this journey a step further. Today, we are going to talk about the journey towards the heart. And to guide us on this exciting journey, we have two of our eminent eminent guests today, Professor Amit Goswami and Dr. Valentina Onisor. A very warm welcome to both of you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much
Krishanu.
for being here. Today's subject is journey towards the heart. And I'm sure that a lot of us would find this journey or the description of how to get into this journey, to take this journey to completion, all of us will find it very useful. So let us start with Professor Goswami.
Thank you, Krishanu. Hello, everyone. Well, I wouldn't say that there are a lot of people who appreciate the heart anymore, especially in countries like America and Europe. Um, what has happened is that even women who used to praise uh, and more or less it could be taken for granted that they are into the heart, even they have started changing. In America, more recently, people find being called emotional is a pejorative. I have heard commentators saying to a woman that you're emotional and apologizing, which is amazing. But that is what has happened. The world is very quickly become computer oriented. This is what high tech and information culture has brought to us. We are becoming machine like. Machines can only process rational thinking and rational thinking about information. Computers only process symbols, that which can be represented. Information can be represented as symbols. And since brain is a computer in the materialist view, what is there for the heart to recognize? But listen to this. You know, when we were developing quantum science for the university that we have established, teaching people enough to get a master's and PhD, Valentina and I were looking for evidence for suggesting that there are experiences in the body. For experiences, we need self-identity, consciousness to identify with the particular organ. For example, consciousness identifies with the brain in the process of quantum measurement, and that's how we acquire a self in the cortex, neocortex. Is there such a mechanism in the body? Now, ancient people talk about chakras. We also talked about chakras in our past shows. You may remember chakras are places where we feel our feelings, especially heart. The region of the heart is the place where we feel the feeling of love. But of course, today we have lost touch. As I said, even women have lost touch with the feelings in the body. You know, some time ago, James Joyce, the famous novelist, in his novel Ulysses, wrote a beautiful line. Mr. Duffy, one of his characters, he said, Mr. Duffy lives a little distance from his body. Today, we all began to live a distance from our body in our head. I mean, distance is not much, but it is enough to create the body as subservient to the brain. And in this situation, we cannot experience the feelings. And because we cannot experience the feelings of the body, we cannot develop them. We cannot develop positive emotions, which includes love, which includes self-worth, which we feel at the level, which includes many other positive emotions. For example, in the throat, it represents positive emotions of inspiration, inspirational music, etc., expression. We have lost touch with all of that. Very cerebral, no feelings. I even heard a mystic. Imagine that. Mystics used to like the idea of journey towards the heart. In fact, Ramana Maharshi used to insist that there is a self in the heart. And this mystic said, when a woman questioned him, how about emotions? He squarely looked at the eyes of the woman and said, emotions don't exist. Why are you bothered about emotions? Imagine that. In this situation, imagine also what Valentina and I figured out. We were worrying about cancer, how to heal it, quantum healing. Valentina is a physician. Naturally, she's interested. I am too. The past life, I might have been a physician, who knows? But in this life, it is part of my theoretical interest. It's part of the exploration of wholeness, which is my personal archetype. So we talked about a lot about the heart chakra, how to elevate the heart. When I wrote the book Quantum Doctor, I already made a theory of something about the heart, which was that there is the immune system in the form of the thymus gland, which is right at the heart chakra. Immune system, of course, is a little bit towards the tummy, but thymus gland, which is the active part until we are 16, 17, that kind of age. After that, the job is done of building the lymphatic system, which takes over some of the activities of the thymus gland. But we can safely say that it is the immune system which is the major player of the heart chakra. And the job of the immune system, of course, is to defend the body against an intruder, to decide between who is me and who is not me. So I was able to theorize that feeling not me is vulnerability, and if the immune system could suspend itself and give up the defensiveness that comes with this defensive tendency, then we'll be open for love. And of course, it would be very nice if love were a real experience. And then, I found this experiment that the HeartMath Institute in California has carried out, in which it actually demonstrates that for loving people, the heartbeats becomes coherent. The heart electrical activity actually shows coherence, dancing in phase, like a chorus line. Coherence is a quantum property. So the heart actually becomes quantum for loving people. Imagine that. So I immediately called Valentina and she pointed out, well, yeah, that's because heart has a brain and navel also has a brain. So then we postulated, okay, there must be self both at the navel and at the heart. It's wonderful because navel gives us self-worth. Without self-worth, how can we love another? We would always feel insecure. And similarly, if we can love others, but if we feel insecure, we'll become needy. And therefore, both navel chakra and heart chakra, self-love and other love, both are important, and we should balance it. And that gave us a whole shebang of discoveries in male-female relationship. Okay, that's the background. And now, of course, the details. I can only say that, you know, in Bengal, where I am right now, I am in the central city of Bengal called Kolkata. And Bengal is the place where um, uh, love has been a major focus. And in particular, the Bengali language gives a very beautiful word for love. I'll slowly speak the Bengali word, bhalo basha. Now you know what it means? It will amaze you. Bhalo basha means, bhalo means good, and basha means place, home, house. So if I say I love you in the sense of I have bhalobasha for you, what does mean is that in you I have found a good home to live. Where is that good home? Obviously in your heart. So when you have given me the opportunity of living some of the time in your heart, that's when there is love between you and me. Simple. This is why a journey towards the heart. It begins with loving someone intimately. But that's not where it ends. It ends with getting this capacity to love everyone. First relatives, community, and community gets bigger and bigger, countries, people, and then whole world, and then the whole universe. But it has to begin with what we are. Otherwise, when the heart is not awakened, that's where the work is. And who but tell you about the work by Valentina Onisor? Valentina?
Hi, everybody. So, the journey towards the heart, it's also a journey towards authenticity, and it takes a lot of courage actually to go the journey of the heart. Many people are afraid of love, yeah, and for good reasons, because we are afraid to be vulnerable and to allow another person to this very secret place, to this home that is there. Of course, most of the times we are not even aware of this place in our beings, yeah. And also, as part of the hero's journey, I see that obviously it is part of this journey where you become a hero. It's also important to learn how to create such a heart community, and to live in such a community in order to really help your situation, and also help the others. Because when we say the heart, we also refer to empathy, among other qualities. And also, again, it's a lot of sensitivity in this area of the heart. We also work, for example, in the way of learning how to work with forgiveness. And again, Amit mentioned the Maharishi, Ramana Maharishi, and that very special meditation of centering into the heart eventually, which goes way beyond emotions, So there's if you want to practice to become aware and eventually learn how to create your heart community eventually. In Sanskrit, the name is Kaula. And you call them allies. There is a stage in the hero's journey where having this community is really, really gonna help. I don't even think it's possible to go through all the stages without having this heart community. Yeah. So it's a resource on this growth path of growth, to become more authentically ourselves. Of course, that when you share love even with one person, there's the power that is emanated, the power of transformation there. It's huge. It's not just the qualities of the two people, but then when you are thinking even of more people, really a community, that's even more, and it's about people who are willing to stick with you in hard times, and also they are there to celebrate with you in great times, and you're there for them the same. And it's also people who, through their presence in this way, they can help you clean up the mess that you may produce now and then, yeah? Because we are obviously imperfect here on earth. and they can help us connect with our authentic self, and can also see you as you are, and when you are around these people, you don't feel the need to pretend something or to be different than who you really are. It's like being alone, and being in such a group is the same, it's nothing artificial there. Yeah. And again, such community is based on values and authenticity. And it's kind of the moments that you're affected by blind spots, let's say, they are there to help, willing to listen to you much deeper than just the surface conversation, so they also laugh with you, but still it's very different than what you understand when you say just friends, because again, with friends, you only have fun, you feel good. Yeah. But such a heart or sacred community is a much, much deeper bond. It's also a love relation, and love is nothing superficial. There is even a saying: a reason, a season, a lifetime. That people are friends for a reason. Usually, it's a common goal, and then they separate. Yeah. Or they can be friends for a season. Maybe they grew up together. They went to high school. And a season, a bond that doesn't really resist necessarily in time. If you look back in your life, you will see that. But such a heart community is for a lifetime, even if you're not physically with them all the time. Yeah. So it's an unconditional friendship, again, not for a reason. And in such a community, you become more authentic and are not afraid or ashamed or scared to be yourself and speak up your mind. We can see that the choices that we make also affect the others, and the other way around. We become more gradually aware of these things, and we can honor each other's gifts instead of focusing on faults, and see our own patterns and highlight the potential in others. It's called tangle hierarchical relationships, right? We help each other grow. Yeah. And of course, this kind of community will support us in moments of success, but they are also there when we are out of alignment with love. Yeah. And now, if you want, I can give you a practice, a dynamic practice. It's a small exercise of objectifying your own potential heart community, to see who is in your heart community, kaula, So what you do, you need to just pause the recording, and you need to draw a circle, and then you place a dot in the circle, and the dot is you. And inside the circle, now you need to mark with dots people that you think that might be in such a heart community for you, people that you feel connected at a deep level. So people that you potentially feel that you can have such a heart-to-heart connection. Yeah. And you can, so again, you place the dots to represent your community, and then you can label them as you feel closer from center out. Yeah. So friends can be close persons, who you think that might be there. So according to how close you feel to them, they are closer to the center or more towards the circumference if they are not so close. Yeah, so you need to take your time to do this. And I'll tell you why this is very helpful. Of course, this can change in time and more dots will come. Maybe some dots will disappear. So it's about what you feel right now in this moment, So outside of the circle, you need to place other dots for some people who are in your regular community, friends or family, but you don't feel that they are part of your heart community, kaula, yeah? So then you can see the difference, how it is to have such a close connection with somebody, So even a family member, maybe you don't feel the same as with another person, maybe your lover that is on the same path as you, So, and then after you label the numbers, there are some questions that you need to put yourself, it's a self-observation method to objectify your potential to create or discover such a group. Maybe you're not even aware that they are there, yeah? So you need to answer fast to the following questions without thinking too much. First of all, you need to see if you expected that your friends and your heart group would overlap. And then you need to see what are some qualities that you appreciate in this heart community, very briefly, yeah? Actual or potential, yeah? So what you would like to have, or these qualities that should be there, So then you also will understand which are your allies. Yeah, it also will show you in what direction you need mostly these allies. Yeah. Then another question would be, what are some qualities that you appreciate about your friends generally? Yeah, like, I don't know, loyalty, stability, whatever you're grateful for. Yeah. So again, it's a process of becoming aware what kind of allies we need on our journey, and also what we need to develop in ourselves. Then how do, that's an important question, how do those in this heart community help you, or how they did in the past? Maybe they stood up for you, maybe they helped you through a tough moment, so this will also show the role of such allies, and can and also you can identify various projections or replicas of your fundamental archetypal journey in your life. So even the small journeys, maybe they were there to help you. Then this is a very important question: how do these people in your heart community group help you transform? So you need to remember a few events when someone or a few people helped you a lot, not to just feel good, but to really transform, even if it was not pleasant at first, but you transformed. And then you become aware of the truth in your assumptions that these people are in your heart community. That's a crucial question. And if you cannot help, help even with one example, this is not Kaula, this is not your heart community, it's just friends there. Another question would be, how do you support those in this group? Because it's always a two-way connection, it's a tangled hierarchical relationship. So what can you do for them also? So you need to, again, always answer fast, don't filter this by mind or ego. And then what keeps you caring for each other? Again, what you think, even if the truth can be something else, but what are you aware of right now? What keeps you caring for each other? And then another question was very surprising maybe, but can be, what else would you include in your heart community group, with outside of what is already, so you can think of everything that you think it might help. It can be heroes from movies or qualities that you saw, or guides from ancient plants or animals, or anything that you would like to have nearby in this heart community group. So this is relevant because it can show certain aspirations that you have, ideas or qualities, virtues that you would like to have, and sooner or later some allies having these qualities may show up, and then another question would be, is God or consciousness or anything related to awareness present in this group, and what impact it has on you. So those would be some questions to see, because nowadays for me, I see the necessity of such group much more than in the past.
Thank you so much, Valentina, for the concept. Yes, it is. I completely agree. A community is very helpful, and also a special appreciation for the practice that you shared with our viewers. There is something, if you ask people to do something which they can do and get some results, it always helps people to understand better. Thank you so much. Now for the wrap up and final comments, back to Professor Goswami.
Thank you, Krishanu. Well, it's all using the quantum principles in a disciplined way. That's what the journey towards the heart, the hero's journey also, which is a journey towards the heart initially, consists of. So what are the two most important quantum principles that we learned from quantum physics and quantum science? The first one we often talked about. This is the one most familiar with people. The name is a bit technical, non-locality, but it means direct communication without signals. Communication without signals, which we colloquially call extrasensory. Sensory communication through our senses uses signals, as you know, sight through the eyes, sound through the ears, and so forth, through the senses. Local communication through molecules, touch, molecules, nose, molecules, tongue. So those are the sensory communication, always with the intermediary of something, molecules or photons, or in the case of hearing, sound waves. Direct communication is something else. It's a quantum effect. When two objects are correlated through intention in the case of humans, and maintaining the intention through meditation, in other words, meditation, continuing meditation with the intention of direct communication. That's what correlates you. And that is the ability of non-local communication. Now, how do we get such a thing in our daily life when we have so much inertia, so much tendency of saying like this, defensive, thinking others are always going to attack me? It's not like that, you know. We can be vulnerable. So what is the practice towards it? I mean, Valentina touched upon it, but giving, forgiving, etc. This is the psychological answer. Then quantum physics, we say, okay, non-locality. Try to experience with non-locality. How do you do that? Well, be interested in non-local communication. Practice telepathy first. Read a few stories about psychics. And gradually you'll become interested, and then you'll ask yourself, okay, how do I make this non-local communication? Well, you do it through inviting intuitions, inviting the archetypes in your life. So giving is a direct relationship with the archetype of love, other love, right? You have to love the people to give. Gradually it develops, but many other ways. But always archetypal investigation that will give you non-locality. Looking at a flower, looking at sunset, beauty, right? Being truthful. This thing that Valentina mentioned immediately, the first thing, authentic, being truthful to yourself. Archetype. Those are the ones to get to non-locality. The next one is a bit tougher. Here you really have to take a discontinuous quantum leap. When electrons go from one atomic orbit to another, you know, like they're split. I'm exaggerating, of course, but the electron never goes through the intermediate space. This is experimentally verified. We do that in thought. Continuous thought, algorithmic thought, rational thought, and we have then intuitive thought, thoughts that we call creative insight. Those thoughts come to us in a discontinuous way, completely breaking from what I knew before. New meaning. Now this one is a bit tougher, but wouldn't you like to have meaning enter your life? How is it possible that you're attending this webinar? You know, we talk about consciousness, not your me-centeredness. We talk about expansion of consciousness. But you would not be here if you were not interested in taking quantum leaps, would you? Quantum leaps of meaning, because you have been asking, what is the meaning of my life? So these quantum leaps are essential. So the point is this, you know, I don't know if you'll remember your situation when you are young, let's say 15, or you're in that kind of age, and your first experience of romantic love. How was it for you? It was a suddenness, didn't it? Suddenness. Suddenly you think that I would like to try this relationship, or I'm in love. Suddenly this experience came to you, heart open, vulnerability entered, and defensiveness went away. This sudden transition is what it's about. And once this sudden transition happens, then to establish a relationship that is two-way, we have a tendency towards one-way relationship. Because we think we are the only one that is conscious. We cannot feel the other's consciousness easily, unless you are into non-locality and more. So you objectify the other in relationships, and it is pathetic. How can an object love you back? Whereas that's what you want. Everyone wants to be loved back. Get it, okay? But if you objectify, an object cannot love you back. This is the problem with loving a rock. You cannot. But that's what we try to do. And then objectify, then we abuse easily. These abusive tendencies are killing societies everywhere, America, India, Brazil, everywhere. How do we come out of it? We have to practice two-way relationship. In quantum science, we call it tangled hierarchy. The hierarchy was one-sided, you the head honcho, right? Lower is the fate of the other, but instead, you do it like circular. You influence her, she influences you. You influence him, he influences you. Right? That's how it works. That's all it is. That's all it takes. After that, it is just doing practices. And of course, if you come to our courses, Valentina and I are in the process of writing a book on love. And we really have a good course, good certification course for love. It's a series of lectures, webinars. Our book will be the textbook. Okay? We really are waiting for you with open arms to open up to love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, both of you. Yes, if you wish to know more about what we are up to, please visit our website www.amitgoswami.org or email us at info@amitgoswami.org. We have certification courses and we have a proximity workshop coming up in October in Jaipur, India. If you visit the website, you will get to know all about it. This is going to be an extremely exciting time to be in Jaipur. People from all over the world will converge and we will exchange ideas. And the workshop is on archetypes, something we all need to understand very, very closely. Please visit our website and write to us. We will be happy to respond. Thank you for being with us today and see you next week. Thank you so much. Thank you for attending.
Hello, everyone. This is Amit Goswami, quantum physicist, consciousness researcher, and a quantum activist. I'm inviting you for attending a 10-day proximity workshop in Jaipur, India, under the auspices of Center for Quantum Activism and Quantum Activism Vishalayam. And this is about return of the archetypes. Archetypes are human values like love, beauty, justice, truth, and they are needed for our life and for our profession. This is what the conference is going to be about. Come, I'll be waiting for you.